What's happening? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the RPG Fantasy Sports Report. Check my site out, www.rpgfantasysports.com. That's doc.com. I'm RPG, as usual, with handsome Ron Burgundy. Week 9, let's get busy. 6 buys this week. It's almost over. 6 buys this week, 4 buys next week, and it's done. Thank goodness gracious. Some injuries to talk about. At the quarterback position, it's actually free and clear this week, at least quarterbacks of relevance. Mike Vick coming back. At running back, D'Angelo Williams, Beanie Wells, Joseph Adai, Mike Hart. D'Angelo's out, Adai's out, Mike Hart's questionable. Game time decision, same with Beanie. I'd normally upgrade people like Jonathan Stewart and Donald Brown, but they looked so bad last week. I don't want to say you want to think twice about it. You got to start who you can, and with injuries and buys, got to put your best roster out there, but they were both real bad this week, although I think Jonathan Stewart does turn it around this week. Wide receiver tight end, Antonio Gates, Zach Miller, Percy Harvin, Malcolm Floyd. Gates has got so many injuries. Was a toe, now it's a foot. He realistically could miss the game this Sunday. Harvin also beat up. His ankle is not in good shape. Randy Moss is now gone. I don't know how effective he'd be anyway. Zach Miller's got a foot issue. Malcolm Floyd's most likely out. I think he's pretty much out. Of all the people I mentioned, Zach Miller's the one I worry about the most, only from the standpoint that he plays in the late games. All the other players play early, so you can check the inactives 10-15 minutes beforehand, half hour beforehand, and you can make a roster move. Whereas Zach Miller, in most leagues, once the first game starts in the morning, you're stuck. So make sure you have somebody to back him up just in case. Some sneaky plays this week. I mean, I don't know how sneaky they really are, but with buys and injuries, these are some guys that haven't been consistent must-start players all year that I think are good plays this week if you're a bit of a jam. Josh Freeman, and he's looked good the last couple. He's really looked good all season, but he's got progressively better. Atlanta's coming off a bye. They're at home. They're going to put up a lot of points, I think. I think Tampa Bay's going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up because Tampa Bay's defense is not good, as witnessed by the Cardinals lighting them up last weekend. So I like Freeman. Some running backs, Brandon Jacobs, Brandon Jackson, Danny Woodhead. Brandon Jacobs, all he does is score touchdowns. 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games. Playing a Seattle team, although they're at home, the defensive line's beat up. They're going to be without Hasselbeck. The Giants are coming off a bye. They're a great team. I have a feeling the game's going to get ugly. I mean, maybe not as ugly as it would as if it was in New York, but ugly. Jacobs probably only going to get about 10 carries, but he's probably going to get a touchdown. Brandon Jackson, he gets more and more involved incrementally each week. Green Bay's finally playing a game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit better since Dallas has completely cashed it in. Prime time, and Jackson's a good receiver out of the backfield. Danny Woodhead, all the guy does is put up 100 total yards. You know, he plays the Kevin Falk position out of the backfield. He catches a lot of balls. And although Green Ellis is the starting back, Woodhead gets a lot of carries, not a lot, but 10 carries. And if you're going to get 80 to 100 yards a game, he's a good play. I like all these guys better than people like Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown, Marshawn Lynch, Javid Best, all which have horrible matchups this week. So some sneaky starts there. And a receiver/tight end, Vicente Shenko, James Jones, Austin Collie. Colley's a must-start, but he's coming off an injury in which he hasn't played. He's a game-time decision. If he plays, you got to put him in. James Jones, Donald Driver's out this week. Obviously, they're missing Finley still. He didn't do anything last week, but nobody does much against the Jets. I like him this week, and if you're in a deep league, maybe even Jordy Nelson, Rodgers is still going to throw the ball 40 times. He's got to throw it to somebody else besides Jennings. So, Shenko. No Moss anymore. Harvin's questionable. Arizona's pass rush is pretty good, but their defense against the tight end isn't great. Favre likes Shenko. I think there's going to be a lot of dump-offs to him, so I like him. RPG's tip of the week. It's not just a 1-word or 2-word tip. It's try to look further ahead than a week. This week you're looking, okay, who can I play? Who's got a good matchup? What defense has got a good matchup this week? If your roster allows you to, look a couple weeks ahead. For instance, David Garrard. He's on a bye this week. Why would you pick him up? Well, if you have Rivers or Rodgers or Breeze, they're on a bye in Week 10. Garrard just lit up the Cowboys, and he gets Houston in Week 10. You look a couple weeks ahead. If your roster allows you, pick him up. I picked up Garrard in one of my leagues, and I have Rodgers. It's a good play next week against Houston. So if your roster allows you to do so, look further ahead than 1 week. You know, with 6 buys and injuries, it might not be the case. In one of my leagues, I can't look forward at all, but one I can. If you've got the flexibility, look as far ahead as you possibly can. Some guys that I like as the season progresses, we get past the midway point, we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Some people to keep an eye on, not necessarily pick up, to keep an eye on. Running back Reggie Bush, Tashard Choice, Bernard Scott. Reggie Bush isn't going to play this week, and New Orleans is on a bye next week. But they have no running backs. Pierre Thomas is in the doghouse, and he's injured. Bush is great out of the backfield. He's not a grinded kind of back, but Breeze has a good chemistry with him. So if you can pick him up now, do so. A couple guys just to keep an eye on. Tashard Choice, Bernard Scott. I mean, Dallas has completely cashed it in. They're looking to make some changes. Marion Barber's completely away from any of the offense. He gets about 4 carries a game. And Felix Jones about as durable as a piece of paper. So Tashard Choice, towards the end of the year, you never know. He runs the Wildcat. He's a good receiver out of the backfield, and he's a tough runner. And Bernard Scott, you know, if Cincinnati continues to just fall down the toilet, they may choose to scale back Cedric Benson's carries, and Bernard Scott's, you know, he's a good receiver out of the backfield too, and he's a tough runner, a little bit like Choice, very similar, just somebody to watch. A couple receivers, two of the three of which I would pick up immediately. Sidney Rice, Vincent Jackson, Devin Roshamadu. Sidney Rice, he's off the PUP list. I thought it'd be a couple weeks. They talked about him not playing this week. I can't believe they even thought he would possibly play this week. Apparently he's cutting, he's doing everything great. You know, he's not going to come back and light it up right away, but we've still got, you know, at least I've got 6 more weeks of my regular season before the playoffs start in both of my leagues. You know, give him 2 or 3 weeks. You know, let's not forget what he did last year. If you can stash him, pick him up immediately. Same with Vincent Jackson, who I think is probably not available in most leagues because we never knew what the status was. It wasn't an injury. It was 4 weeks. Nope, he's still not in. 2 more weeks, and we didn't know when he was going to play. But now we know he's coming back week 12. And Phillip Rivers throws the ball about 612 times a game. So I see him paying, both these guys paying immediate dividends when they come back, in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks when they come back for the playoffs. So they're great to have. Pick both of them up immediately if you can. And if you had to pick one up over the other, I'd only say Vincent Jackson because I know he's going to be healthy. And come week 12, 13, 14, and so on, he is going to light it up. Roshamadu, it's just a gut call. He had a great end of the season last year. He's got Jay Cutler. If Jay Cutler can stay upright, he's got to throw the ball to somebody besides Knox. And although Roshamadu is in the doghouse, we've seen some sort of life come out of him. So it's just somebody to watch. Again, Bush, Sidney Rice, and Jackson, I pick them immediately, but watch those other guys as well. You can never look too far ahead. So week 9, exciting stuff. Have a good weekend. RPG,